Welcome, guys, to another Chat 4.0. It's my pleasure to have here my friend Bryan Wade in the skin in the game. Bryan, thank you for accepting this meeting here with us on the Chat 4.0. It's a pleasure to have you here. Can you introduce a little bit about yourself for us, please?
Yes, so my name is Bryan Wade. Very, very happy to be here. I just want to first say that super excited to be here. And Rafael, this is a very, very good initiative that you're undertaking here. So quite proud of you and super glad to be here.
Thank you.
Yep. So maybe a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Maryland. Actually, we call it the DMV area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So it's really this border area between all three areas is where I've been born and raised. So yeah, I'm the oldest of all my siblings here. So of course that has a bit of responsibility in itself, being the oldest sibling as such. But I take that on my shoulders quite proudly.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, glad to be here and thanks for the invite.
Nice, man. Can you explain for us what is your school background? What degree did you do?
Yeah, sure. So I went to a school called RIT or Rochester Institute of Technology. This school is actually located in upstate New York, so very, very close to Canada.
Very cold
Um,
also.
Very, very cold. I mean, endless winters, tons of snow. So I'm glad to actually be down here in Greensboro, away from all of that.
You don't complain about the winter in Greensboro anymore.
Oh, the winter down here is mild compared to up there. So yeah, it's good. Um,
Nice.
Yeah, but a little bit about my degree. I actually went to school for packaging science. At that time, it had been, well, relatively not so old discipline in terms of RIT and maybe other schools like Michigan State. But I would say very much new to the overall market as such that these kind of degrees even exist in the US. So, I mean, that was what, 12 years ago. So that, yeah, that was my focus of study in school. And reason why I picked it, originally I started off as a computer engineer, but I
Mm.
remember I had my first internship where I was basically thrown into a cubicle and I had to code all day, right? So I said, no way this could be my professional life when I get out of school. Completely boring. So yeah, I mean, I did a college exploration program and took some classes in packaging and saw that it can really enable me to use my creativity when it comes to design and different systems and tools. So I stuck with it, and yeah, here I am.
Nice. So packaging science is something I think very specific. For example, we don't have that college on Brazil, for example. Can you explain exactly what a packaging engineer, let's say, what a packaging engineer does
Sure.
in the
So
industry?
yeah, sure. So just to kind of backtrack here, I mean, in school there is a lot of studying around chemistry, a lot of around material science. So really, you really get a foundation of the different packaging materials that you will then later on use. For instance, paperboard, fibers, these kind of things, different plastics. So there's a lot of chemical science that also plays in part of what you study in the packaging science program. Um, I will also say that this very much teaching about the different manufacturing processes that goes into creating paperboard, corrugated materials, plastic boxes, or bottles, I should say, thermoform trays, and these kind of things. So there's a lot of that manufacturing processes and knowledge that you gain. And there's also a lot of the good thing I really like about my school is very much hands-on. So I graduated from the College of Applied Science and Technology. And what applied means is that there's a lot of practical hands-on work. So we actually build the CAD models, but it just doesn't stay on a computer disk, right? We actually go to the cutting board tables and produce these materials and make physical samples of what we then design in the lab or on the computer, so to say.
Yeah, that's such a interesting thing to study, let's say like that, because after you get in automotive industry, and not just in automotive industry, many different subjects in the industry, you will see that everything has a package. And I used to say, I just realized that once I start to work as a package engineer, because before that, you never thinking about package. I used to say to my
No.
friend, when I had to explain to someone what a package engineer needs to do, I say, when you go to the supermarket, that you need to buy something, that is your commercial package. And how do you think the guys deliver that in the supermarket? There was a transport package. So basically, everything we touch has a package. And I definitely would say Brazil needs to improve that. They need to, I don't know if maybe create this package science degree or engineer, or
Mm.
maybe at least a specialization. But for sure, there is a lot of parts in the industry that they need that knowledge, and we don't have that definitely in Brazil. We have like production engineers, mechanical engineers working as a package engineer in Brazil, but we don't have like specific people that study just for that.
When I went to school for packaging, I mean, it was a tough sell for my parents. My parents was like, "What the heck? You're going to go there to be a computer engineer and be successful? What is this packaging? You're going to be playing with boxes." But I really think the packaging discipline is a bit taken for granted in our society, right? I mean, we have so much of it. We take for granted that we go to the store and that your ground beef is packaged appropriately and you come home and cook it and it'll be fresh and these kind of things. So what I try to tell my parents is like, just like you said, I mean, imagine going into the grocery store and going into the meat section and there's no packaging to protect it. So imagine all the gross things that you start to see, right? Imagine going through the cereal aisle and there's no box, right? There's no plastic bag and these kind of things. So it's something we take for granted in our society today, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I bought a fire pit for my house this weekend, and once I started to open, I was looking at the package, and I told my wife, "Take a look on that package. It's beautiful. Everything
Yeah,
is in the
yeah,
place. Everything is taken care."
yeah,
So just after
yeah.
you work with that, you start to realize how
Yes,
how important is that. Because, sorry, I imagine the frustration of the customer when they buy something and they open the box and it's damaged.
for
So
sure.
that's why it's so important. No one take care, no one thinking about the package just when they get something that is broke, and then they say, okay,
Exactly.
this package could be better.
Yep,
Yeah, nice.
exactly.
So for how long have you been working in the industry environment already, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, more or less out of school. I was recruited directly out of school here. So I would say I've been working in the industry for, yeah, 12 years now.
Nice, man. Long journey.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
probably already work with, in many different countries and with different cultures and people. Can you tell us a little bit like a short history about your geographic mobility inside of the
Mm,
industry?
mm. For sure. I mean, when I graduated college, my original intent was to get a job anywhere really close to home, Maryland. I mean, so I lucked up really with the company that I'm with now, and being located then in Maryland, and this time being then in a production facility or manufacturing type environment. I will say there, in working in the automotive industry, I've been quite fortunate to be able to travel to different countries on different assignments here, and working really primarily in the packaging area, so to say. So I mean, that's one of the things I never realized when I got out of school is how far around the world that the packaging discipline would actually take me. I
Then you
mean, I
told
had
to
no
your
clue.
you told to your mom and dad, you see.
They said, "What the heck? You going to this place? And wait a minute, they sending you here, then they sending you there." I mean,
Just because package.
yeah, just because of a box. Are you serious? I tried to tell you, mom. So no, but I mean, it's really been a humbling experience. I've been fortunate enough to have an assignment in Japan, Tokyo, Japan to be exact. From there, I went on to work in Shanghai, China, before
Nice.
actually coming full circle to the U.S. So I had a couple of expat assignments, and of course, in my current business as such, I'm interacting with many different countries. I mean, I've been to Brazil a number of times. I've been to Sweden, Belgium, all of these places multiple times, and spent a lot of time there. But one of the things that it really has that's really grown on me is really having this global perspective and this global mindset when it comes to working with different cultures. Because I mean, to be honest, what I really notice is that the most successful people that are working on these assignments in these different countries are really the ones that have a global mindset and are very much open-minded to change, open-minded to new experiences, open-minded to new cultures, open-minded to even the food in the specific region, and all of these little things that really grows and develops you to have an appreciation for other cultures and to really integrate into that region in a good way. Because I feel then you when you open yourself up to the culture, you're able to get so much out of it. And in turn, it's culture sharing, right? I mean, I share my American culture with my colleagues as much as they share with me. So it's been a
Yeah.
really, really humbling experience, Rafael, for sure.
Nice. So you say you work in Japan and China already. So personally, I'm a big fan of the Asian culture, like especially Japan. Can you like just give us some taste and how was to work on Japan during some time and the experience of working there, the culture, the challenges that you find there, like was too much different because the Japanese, like the real Japanese people that I have met here, and not just here but also in Brazil, they have a how can I say that the culture is so strong and they carry on that. It doesn't matter where they go, they don't change.
Yes, very much so. I mean, Japan really is a homogeneous society. And what I mean is that there's really not too many foreigners there. And, hundreds of years ago, it has been to an extent a closed country. Um, but in saying that, when I traveled there, I would say that I was very much embraced by my Japanese colleagues and the culture there. And I think I want to say I strongly believe that you get back whatever energy you put out there. Okay,
That's true.
that's one thing I've learned in my experience. The experience is going to be what you make it. All right, and whatever energy you put out there, you will for sure get that back. I truly believe that. When I went to Japan, it was very much on a acquisition. Okay, the company had acquired another company, and I went over there for transition projects, so to say. So I mean, here I am. I'm thrown into this environment. I'm a young kid, not so fresh out of college, but still fresh out of college. The only foreigner on my floor, and then I'm here with all of these older Japanese guys. Some 58, 50 years plus, I think was the average age for that environment. Because in Japan, it's very much you're considered a lifetime employee. So when someone works for a company, they really stay with that company forever, so to say. But I mean, when I went over there, there was, of course, a huge language barrier, right? I mean, at that time, my Japanese colleagues at the same time were taking English courses. But I mean, again, these are quite old guys in their career and trying to pick up the English language on the fly. And we know the older we get, it becomes difficult to pick up these languages. But I would say one of the approaches that I took was that I said, look, if my Japanese colleagues are going to learn English, then I'm going to take a full faith effort to learn Japanese.
Nice.
So I did this really on a high level, well, as much as you can get in a year. Okay. I mean, the company really did make these resources available to you. And yeah, twice a week, 3 times a week, a teacher would come to my apartment. I would have my textbook. I would practice my language. I would study. I would get quizzed and this kind of thing. But one of the things I learned is that when I came back to the factory and came back to the plant and I tried to speak the language, they really opened up to me. They saw, hey, this guy is taking a conscious effort to learn our language, and he's struggling, but he's making a mistake, and it's okay. And I think that's something about the Japanese culture. They don't like making mistakes. They really strive for perfection and excellence, and I very much respect that. But yeah, when I brought the perspective, okay, hey, I don't know Japanese and I'm going to struggle, and it's okay. You're going to struggle with English. I mean, we came so interconnected and uh, knocked down different barriers that you would typically have and just work with each other in such a better way. So very humbling experience. I mean, I can talk about this for hours and write a book about it most probably, but it was honestly one of the best experiences of my life, both
Nice.
culturally, as a man, development, career wise, professionally. Super
Nice,
awesome.
Brian. Nice. So going to that direction, how important is for you the diversity inside of a global organization?
Oh, Raphael, I would say it's extremely important, especially for new perspectives, right? Growth and development. I think really, if you look at the most successful companies here in the world, the Googles, the Facebooks, I mean, you clearly see the diversity. You see the diversity in their management, all the different senior leaderships, and you're quite surprised. That guy's the CEO of Google. Oh, I didn't expect that to be the face of the company, but really, I think the most successful companies are the ones that are embracing diversity and inclusion at a higher level than other companies. So for me, it's a bit key, this diversity.
Nice. So then, after all this amazing history, you become a manager. Like you return to US and you got the position as a manager. So for how long have you been manager already? Like we working with managing people.
I would say, yeah, going on 7 years now.
7 years already.
I've been a manager, so it's been quite some time now, actually.
Yeah. So for you as a manager, how do you get engagement with your team and like keep everybody focused? And I know you have some guys under your team that's not here in US. You have to manage people from far away. What's the challenge for you to have that kind of managing people? And what do you do to keep the guys engaged and focused with the same thing? Like,
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it comes a lot down to communication and just really having a truly open door policy. And not only that, but really taking a full faith effort to support your different engineers in the different areas. I think this is very much motivating. I mean, it's motivating to me, in relation to my manager itself. When you really see that this guy has my back, no matter the difficult situation, difficult discussion, he's going to help me to drive and to lead this and to make the situation better. I mean, me for a manager, I really strive to have a vested interest in all of my engineers' success, right? I mean, I really try to build an environment that we are, so to say, marching to the same beat. We have a high level of camaraderie and creating sort of a positive team spirit that we're all working towards the same goals and we're all supporting each other in these kind of things. So again, I think it comes down to communication. For instance, my engineer in South America, I mean, we are on the phone with each other every day. So it's almost like I'm there, right? I mean, when you have this good kind of communication and consistent communication, and it's really truly open door policy, these kind of barriers start to disappear.
mm-hmm.
They become a little bit invisible when you have this high level of communication here and sharing information sharing. I mean, we have been in the pandemic for quite some time now, so I mean, unfortunately, I haven't been able to travel as much as I would like, especially going down to South America and these kind of things. So I mean, we talk a little bit about the new norm and using virtual meetings such as we're doing here today, and I think using that to a great extent also creates sort of a more personable feeling that we're there with each other. Like right now, and I feel like I'm here with you and
Mm-hmm.
how we're talking, right? I mean, but I'm not. So it's more than a phone call. It's more than an email. So I think
Yeah, you.
this video is good.
Yeah, one thing personally I like to look in the eyes. So
Mm.
if I'm seated and someone stand up by my side to talk with me, I will stand up also because I like the eye contact to talk. So I really think that the cameras here, even if you need to talk and if you can turn on the camera, will help it a lot. Definitely.
I have a funny story about a quick one about the Japanese experience when it comes to body language and eye contact. One of the things I'm reflecting on is, I think the Japanese are not so direct to say, no, I do not agree with this. This is absolutely wrong. Uh, Not so upfront and direct about it. It's a lot of body language that I learned that you have to kind of pick up on. So I mean, I kind of remember I tested the waters here and gave a packaging solution that was, let's say, suboptimal, just to kind of see the reaction because I wasn't understanding. I mean, there was a barrier here where there wasn't so much open dialogue or direct
Mhm.
dialogue. We in the U.S. are quite direct in how we speak, but what I learned is that there's this body language, like, okay, that means no. That means you don't agree. So yeah, having this kind of face-to-face and eye contact and see the body language, I think is important.
Yeah, yeah. So when you make this transition from technical position to managing people, what things after like 7 years already managing people, what was the things that you had more difficult once you made that transition and you stop and realize, okay, I need to improve this and this because now I'm not technical anymore and I had to manage people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure, I think one of my development areas has been to be a more structured individual. You know, coming sort of from the production and manufacturing environments, sometimes we have a kind of get or done kind of mentality, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we know what the problem is, and we know how we should attack it, and it doesn't take a huge planning. But in fact, I learned over the course of my career is that there are, of course, cases and, of course, times where you need to have a very structured approach to arrive at a very good end result, because you could be focusing on the wrong thing or going into the wrong direction. So I think in my time as a manager, I've grown to respect that side and having a clear structure, and of course in having a clear and defined plan and maybe a angle of attack, let's say, for whatever kind of situation or problem we're trying to solve here. So I still have a lot of work to do in that being a more structured individual, because I do still like to just jump in and hammer it and solve the problems quickly, go have the
That's
Goomba.
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
you get
That's
wrapped
a
up in it, but yeah,
production mindset.
yeah,
So if you have
yeah.
to say like one thing that every manager should have, for example, if someone here that's watching us, it's a young guy and had the plan to become a manager one day. If you have to point like one quality that every manager should have or should develop or learn.
I would say people development, and really again, coming back to having a vested interest in your engineers and your employees develop growth and development. I've seen that over the course of my career, when you have this approach, has really served me. um, uh, the team members are really putting forth 150% effort, because they also see that you're putting the same kind of effort. And again, it goes back to it's the same kind of energy you put in is what you're going to get back. And I think, the team feeds off of that, right? I mean, you could kind of get a sense of that within the team, and really to create this kind of good work environment of camaraderie, of support, of having a clear direction, and clear direction in terms of our goals and deliverables, so to say. So I
Nice,
would say people development and invest in your employees. It will pay dividends, I will say.
nice. So here we talk about managing people and lean manufacturing also, and you've been in Japan, the land of lean manufacturing. So can you tell us in your own words what is lean for you and
Yeah.
maybe how do you see that applying the package business?
Yeah, sure. I mean, lean for me is really about identifying waste in the process, right? I mean, it comes back to these three M's. Now, my Japanese is a little rusty, but the Muda, Muri, Mura, the three
Muda,
different
muda,
types of,
muda.
yeah. So it really comes back to that, really defining, okay, what is the waste in the process, or in the supply chain, or your process that you're working in today, and then really systematically attacking that and pulling out that waste from the process. I really did pick this up in Japan, because I mean they take it to a higher level. I think there, and really this sort of customer focused approach, very strong. I mean, I can recall. I remember we had a quality defect of rusty valve springs, right, that came in from Europe, and one of the things that I remember our director, he stopped everything, and everyone went out there to sort of clean parts, because we couldn't wait 3 months, right, for parts to come back from Europe over to Japan. But it was quite clear in my mind that his perspective is that we have zero quality defects going to the customer. don't really care what the cost is. And I told them, hey, we're going to design a new packaging so that we don't have this rust. We need to have a lot of VCI, and there's going to be a cost. Don't care about the cost. It's important that we have zero defects going out to our customers. And customer perception is paramount for the reputation of our company, for our core business. So when I took that back to the U.S., it was a little eye opening, the mindset and how it compares over there compared to over here. So yeah, lean for me is a rate waste reduction, and again, systematically taking that out of the system and out of the process as such.
Nice, nice. If you could return when you were 18 years old, Bryan, and you could give an advice to yourself after all the experience that you have already, and if you could give an advice for the young generation that is coming, what would be?
Step out of your comfort zone. I can recall when I was going on assignments in other countries, some of the reaction of some of my American friends. You want to go to that country? You want to go to China? Do you know how they live over there? Okay, but my response is, have you been to China? I mean, no one in my family has ever been to Japan, China, Sweden, Brazil, wherever.
Mostly just to talk about box.
Yeah, exactly. More or less to talk about boxes, right? I mean, these kind of
Yeah.
things. So, but I mean, my perspective is that I mean, I'm the first in my family to go to school and graduate from college. I'm the first in my family to go to all these different countries, and I can't say no to these kind of opportunities. And I'm quite glad that I didn't. I'm quite glad that I didn't have this closed mindset in that. Okay, why do I want to go to another country? What do they have to possibly offer me? Because really what I've gotten from those experiences really life changing and will stay with me for the rest of my life. These kind of experiences that I've had, which has been truly, really, truly phenomenal. So I would just say to the younger generations, just to have an open mindset. Don't say no. Don't be so quick to say no. If you're offered a new food, you visit a culture and offered a specific, don't try it. You offer to go some kind of place or you have the possibility because I could tell you, when you get older, you're going to reflect on those kind of
Yeah,
experiences that you passed up on, right?
exactly.
And you don't want to have regret. And I can tell you in all experience where I jumped and said yes, went out on a leap of faith and had this open mindedness, it has always served me.
Nice, nice. Where do you think the automotive business will be in the next 5 to 10 years? And talk a little bit about the packaging. I can see, like for example, today we are changing. Like maybe not last in the past, like 5 to 10 years ago, they were changing a lot of corrugate for plastic, and now they are doing the reverse, the opposite. I can see they are changing a lot of plastic and I forget the name of the other material, the white one that we cannot sell and we cannot recycle. But they are,
EPS phone, yeah,
yeah,
styrofoam.
yes, yes, they
Mm.
are. We are changing. We're migrating everything for the corrugate. So do you think that's going to be a one direction?
It's quite interesting you bring that up because I mean, the environmental factor and our environmental footprint on the environment is such. Many companies are really, really starting to focus on this. Okay, what is our company contributing to CO2 emissions? So I think a lot of companies are taking this serious in what we're doing with our packaging material as such. So I think you will see, yeah, maybe a transition from these kind of foams and specifically materials that are not good for the environment that take a long time to degrade, and these kind of things. In terms of where the automotive industry would most probably be, I mean, 5 years, I think there's a lot of things that are quickly approaching us today, Raphael. I mean, you talk a lot about electromobility and electrified technologies and vehicles, right? The Teslas and these type of places. I mean, this is the trend that you can clearly see the world going towards
Yeah.
rather quickly. Yeah.
I saw a news today that the big truck automotive industries in the world, they sign a contract that until 2040 all the trucks will be, I don't know if it's just in Europe, but the news was from Europe, but all the trucks would be electric trucks by 2040.
Yes, yes. I think even some of the countries you wouldn't have expected to sign that agreement has signed it. I believe China was also one of those who are making the commitment to that. So I think, and for me, this is super positive, right? Because if you think about a little bit the world that you're going to leave your children, right?
Yep.
You don't want to leave them with a messed up world. So I'm quite happy to see that a lot of our world leaders, a lot of our industry leaders are really taking this bull by the horn, so to speak, and really driving us through their respective companies. So for me, that's super super positive.
Nice. Bryan, we are getting the end here. Such a good talk with you, like 30 minutes already. So
Uh,
last question, can you advise us a book or maybe how many books you want that everybody should read that will bring some good
yeah,
things for us?
yeah. So first book, sticking on the topic of lean. This is a book called The Machine That Changed the World.
Nice.
When I open up the first page, I see that it's just a bit of quick note. Um, uh, my first manager, actually, with my company, had gave me this book, and it is around lean production and really around the Toyota production systems and really how they revolutionized the automotive industry with their Toyota production systems as well. So this has been a good book that stayed with me, yeah, throughout my whole career that I come back to at times. So very good book about Toyota production systems. That
Nice.
would be the first one. The second one is something that I've read in my own free time. It's called The 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, I mean, as the title suggests, obviously it's about power and maintaining, acquiring, and keeping power as such. But I would say beneath that, it's also a bit about how to maintain relationships. One of the beauties that I like about this book, and I'm a little bit of a history buff, is that it uses a lot of historical references to how different situations have played out across the world. Just to give you an example, I mean, I think one example was some senator in the Roman Empire, how he was maybe backstabbed or this kind of thing. But it kind of breaks that down in some of the steps that he did wrong, how he could have avoided that. So a lot of historical references that they connect these different 48 laws of power to, and just a super super interesting book to read. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Nice. Guys, I will keep the name of the book and the authors of the books here on the YouTube subscription. Bryan, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the interview. It was an amazing chat. You brought a lot of nice subjects for us. You had like a huge experience. We could stay talking here for over 1 hour
For sure.
easy. Mostly if
Yeah.
we focus on Japan.
Yeah, I know, right?
But man, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me, Raphael. Again, super appreciated to be invited here and very good work, my friend.
Thank you. See you soon.